Hello everyone, this is first part of my tutorial. I am making a mini album using the Ciao Bella paper called Collateral Rust. You can already see from the cover how beautiful these papers are. I am also going to use one of these rice papers from the same collection. I haven't decided yet which one, but I am planning on using at least one of them for the cover of the album. For this particular tutorial, I am going to use a gatefold journal by Prima Marketing, but I am going to show you all options, so you will not have to invest in this unless you want to. I am also using this really old distress oxide by Tim Holtz. That will be for all the edges to make sure that I create dimension and an aged look. I am also going to use tacky glue and double-sided tape, and also I am going to use cardstock paper craft that I got from Michael's on special at about $2. And of course I will need my scissors, a pen, a ruler, a pencil, sorry, and then my cutting machine, and also one that is going to be used for scoring. So while I get everything ready, I am going to turn the camera off, and I will see you in a few minutes. Okay, so now I am going to start making the album myself, but that is just for the introduction, because I am going to use the craft album, but I wanted to show you how we can actually make an album ourselves. So I am taking one of the craft papers and I am going to cut it lengthwise at 6 inches and keep the little leftovers because they come in useful. And then the second one I am going to cut it at, sorry, the second cut is going to be 9 inches, and I will show you why in a minute. I have also cut an 8-inch paper, that was the length, and also 6 inches wide. So right now I am, there's an inch difference, so I am going to score the larger piece at 1/2 inch on each side using the scoring board. Sorry, so here it is. I am left-handed and it's a bit hard for me to do it with the right hand, so I may make mistakes. What I'm doing is not perfect, but it looks okay in the end. So now folding, making sure we fold really well. Now we have two pieces. They are both 8 inches in length. So what we are going to do, we are going to use tape. The problem is that this tape, it's a bit old. Let me open a brand new one, because the insert of paper sticks to the tape on the other one. So let's find an end. And now I don't measure the tape, it would take forever, but what I do, I just cut approximately what I think I should have, and then I use the ends. I just stick them to my, you can see here, but I have my overhead lamps, and I stick it there, and when I need the bits and pieces I just pick them up and use them. So here's another one. And now that I've done it, I'm just gonna cut the corners so they won't protrude And I always use glue as well. Let's see if this has any in it. Yes, it does. It hasn't been used for a while. I don't put a lot because I don't want it to bleed outside the area that I want to stick, but always use both glue and tape for long lasting results. Glue gets dry and then it actually makes the pages separate, and so does the tape. So right now I am going to stick my 8 by 6 inches on top, on both sides, making sure I make it look neat. And of course I press hard on both sides to make sure it's stuck. And here we got what we call a tunnel. Now when we are done with all the pages, we are going to connect this to the actual book cover and we are going to bind it manually, and you will see why we need this. So that's basically my first page, and on it I am going to start attaching the designs that I want to create with the paper, and then on the other side as well. When I have 4 or 5 of these, depending on how long the paper will last, we can start binding the book. I am going to use, as I said, my craft album, which is a gatefold album, which is going to fold on both directions. See, the reason I'm using this and not the handmade sheets, it's because it will give me the option to create more, so you could have more options and pick the ones you like most for your book. So once I'm done, I'm going to fold one side at a time, and this is how the album is gonna be, so I'll have room to put stuff on the sides as well. So now, where did I put the paper? I'm going to quickly show it to you. The colors are absolutely fabulous. I am actually going to make a few albums like this with different papers over the next few weeks. It does take time, but it's very, very rewarding. So I apologize. Here is the cover, and here we go. Look at this beautiful corrugated iron rusted and Indian motorcycle. These are absolutely stunning papers. Route 66. And the detail is absolutely fantastic. So it's just a matter of letting the imagination run wild and use them. I like this one in particular, so I am going to use the rice paper that looks like it for the cover. Gas station. Absolutely stunning. The colors are very vivid. It's one of the most beautiful papers I've seen so far, and I have worked with quite a lot. Got all the number plates. It's the first time I look at it actually. I haven't opened one yet, so I am impressed. So I am going to turn the video off for a moment until I figure out how I want to start. I'll see you soon. Okay, let's get started. I realized that when I created the tunnel, I suggested 8 by 6, but if you want to go any other dimension, of course you can. My particular project is a blank album. It's about 8 by 8, not counting this little edge that is going to actually stand like this at the end. You will see as it as I make it bigger, it will keep raising. For now it's flat. So that, knowing the dimensions, I know exactly what I want to cut. So let's do some cuts now. I think on the first page I am going to use the garage door, and for that I am going to cut it in half at 6. Sorry. And then I am going to cut it just above Jack's garage writing, and I think, yeah, that's 6 again. So I have a 6 by 6 now. No, let's not fold this yet. And then I am going to use the cover. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is, right at the top. So I am going to put this to use, particularly because the back is the corrugated iron here. So I am going to cut along this line here where the car is, because I am going to use this as well. And now let's do a 6 this way, and then I have another 6 now. So I am going to use this portion in a moment. You will see how. Now let's take another craft paper, and I am going to cut it. I'm gonna cut it at 8.5, and I know it sounds confusing, but once you start doing it regularly, you will see that it's a lot easier to figure out what you want to do, and to understand the designs. So my album, it's what did I do with my ruler? Here it is. My album is a little over 8 inches. I can't even measure. It looks to me like it's an 8 and what's that? It's not an 8.25. It's an 8 and 1/8. So this paper, it's already 8.5 on one side, yes. So what I am going to do, I am sorry if I'm a bit clumsy at first. I have not created tutorials, but I'll get better very soon. So I am going to score my page to start with at 1/2 inch. And bend it, and make sure the bend it's straight, because that could cause problems. And now what I am going to do, I am going to use it here, starting on the right of the page. So let's measure how much I have to cut instead of calculating. That's what I found to be more useful. So here is my pencil, and we are going to cut it here, and then we are going to cut it exactly the size of the album page. So let's do that. You know what, I'm gonna use my small cutter The blade is not that sharp, but it's a lot easier to use when I have to do many cuts. So here we go. Actually, I think I should go tiny bit more. Yes. Okay, so now we are going to stick this on the album. And let's use these scissors because I keep losing the other ones under the paper. And let's glue. Yeah, you see, when I speed up my videos, I don't look as clumsy, but I am clumsy at times, particularly when I haven't crafted for a while. So this is my first page, remember, and I am going to do the cut. I'm gonna stick it on the right side. And you will see why. So now next stop will be to try to place this somewhere in the middle. So what I'm going to do, I am going to cut another piece. It will have to be, let's see, I'm gonna make it 6. And because I will have to have a fold on one side, I'm gonna make it 6.5. Okay, I will try to streamline my explanations because I don't want to confuse you. But in a moment you will see why I'm doing this. And now let's make sure that it's the same length. So going to cut it here. Here we go. And attaching it. So once I get started with page number 1, I am going to fast forward the videos, so I won't take up too much time and you will still be able to see at that speed what I'm doing. Glue. Trying not to put a lot. Sometimes I put way too much and it bleeds onto the page and it makes it messy. So here is what I'm going to do. I am going to put it leaving equal sides. I didn't measure, but of course you can measure. Hang on, because I'm putting it too much up. So here it is. And now, see, that's what I was talking about, too much glue. But since it's gonna be covered anyway with paper, it doesn't really matter. It's just annoying. Now I want to put the garage door here, and I want to make sure that it also opens. So I am going to cut it open. And I'm going to use this cutter. And where did I put my ruler? So let's cut the door opening. And here as well. And this one. And now we are going to score and that's not easy to find the right place because I can't see it properly, but we can try. Hang on. So okay, so now let me see. So if I start here, that's it. And then this one here. Okay, here it is. Done. So here is my door. And I am going now to use the distressed ink for all the edges. When I first started, I watched a few videos of album making, and I thought that I could never ever come up with my own designs. It seemed so complicated, so for my very first album I replicated one made by that lady in Netherlands, I think, or Denmark, I forgot. And I kept watching videos, and then I stopped replicating because I thought it was so important to be able to be original. And I loved it. I loved it. So now I am not copying anyone, and it's not difficult to do it. So for me to be able to keep the doors closed, I am going to use a little brad here. So I know I have, this is my box of little wonders. Let's use a small brad. Let's use one that is like coppery in color, if I have any left. Doesn't look like it, but anyway, I'm gonna use this dark one. And I know I had some, where did I put them? Oh, here they are. Here we go. I'll show you what I'm gonna do with it. So now I am going to make a hole Actually, I think I should put it to one side to make sure it's I can close them both. Okay, so here it is. I'm basically piercing this so I could put my brand through, and then this little part that top moves left and right. So I apologize for my horrible nails. I've been doing work around the house and it looks like crap, but it's okay. And also I have a big burn from the oven that is going to heal. So now that we have the closure, let's actually put this on the you know what, I think I'm gonna just slice a bit out of the ends because it seems like it's a bit too big. I remember I saw that when I measured, so we cut that bit, and let's cut a bit from this side as well. Okay, that should do. And now we are going to redo our edges. It's never going to be perfect. It may look perfect in the video, but it's not perfect. It will always have a couple of small issues that only I can see, or someone with a really trained eye. I mean, a person who doesn't craft will not see the imperfections, but I will. Having said that, art is not perfect, so I stopped worrying about it long ago. At first I was disappointed when I was watching the videos that the Dutch or Netherlands lady made. I was thinking, look at the perfection. But as I watch my own videos, I realized that it only seems to be perfect, and it's not. So it's okay. I mean, every imperfection has its own charm. So I am now putting a tape around my door to make sure it stays on the page properly. Okay, now see, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I went with the tape a bit over the edge, so now I have to trim it, unless it's gonna look ugly. I mean, in the absence of it, it will look ugly. So let's see. Still have to put some tape for the door, and I am going to go all the way to the door opening. So here is done. And I put this one on already. This one is done. I just need a couple of more pieces. I know you can't see it because of the camera, but I can. So let's add this here. And now, where do I put it? I think I am going to put it at the bottom. Okay, so here it is. That's the first portion, and I am going to open the doors and put something in here, and for that purpose I am going to use a portion of this corrugated iron Is that the bottom part? Yes. So pen, and now this way, and let's cut it. I really need to stop at Michael's for a better blade. Now I can't see a thing. Oh yes, I can see that it's one here, and then there is one here. Can't see it properly. Here we go. And again, alrighty, so let's see if it goes in properly. No, of course not, it's a bit too long. So let's cut a bit of it. My measurements are terrible because I don't like to measure. Okay, that should work. So let's do this again, and let's put it on. I always put the small ends in the middle to create some additional grip, and the biggest pieces I attach them to my lamp and use them when I need them. But for now I'm just gonna go with the roll of tape. Okay, and glue. So let's put this one here now. Perfect. So now we have our door, and let's think about what we are going to put at the top. For now I'm gonna turn the video for a moment off, because if I actually forgot to record, at least you don't lose that much. So I'll come back. Okay, so let's move on to the next portion. While off camera I cut this bit to stick it here, so I am going to do this now. So remember, this is from the back of the front cover. And one more just as long. Well, it's gonna be longer, but it's okay. I'm gonna cut it. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, scissors. So we cut both ends probably, and I'm gonna keep the big portion on my lamp for later on. Glue. And then make sure we attach it correctly. Okay, that's perfect. And now I am going to turn the page Remember, that was the cardstock that we put. It's actually a page on a page, so we are going inside it, and I am going to cut a portion of this. I think I already marked it. Yeah, of course I did, but I forgot where. So let's make sure. Oh yes, here it is. So I am going to cut this one right here on my mark, and I actually have a plan for this one. Let's do it afterwards. Let's come back here and let's finish this portion for now. That was this part here. Remember, it was right here. So I am going to cut the word gas station just enough to fit on this portion. So I already marked it, and I'm gonna do it now. So let's see, that's one cut, and that's another one. Okay, so that's that, and let's use a piece of cardstock. Because we want to make a little hiding spot here. So how are we going to do this? We are going to cut the same length. Yeah, that's right. And then we are going to score it. So let's do, where is my scoring thing? I am very messy when I craft, so please disregard the mess, and I apologize in advance if I am taking too much time looking for things. So that's that, and let's actually, you know what, I am going to make it slightly shorter because I am concerned that it might overlap the edge of the page. So I've cut a tiny strip of it, and I'm gonna redo this edge. So let's put this away. Now let's stick gas station on the cardstock. This side. And now I'm going to put some of my leftovers to good use. See, I'm detaching them from the lamp. And glue. Gas station. Here we go. And now we are going to score right here. And then fold it. Oops, right hand is not good. Oh, great. I started the wrong way, and now I have to go carefully. Great. Keep going away from it. See, that's what happens when you are left-handed. Okay, it's not gonna work. Let's try it the other way. That's so wrong. But of course, none of it is gonna be visible since I am folding it. Perfect. Almost. Well, let's say good enough. Okay, now I'm fixing the mess that I just made, and I am going to cut it at what I estimate to be 1/2 inch, which is gonna be the portion. See? And now I am going to use this little punch to create a 1/2 circle on this side and 1/2 circle on this side. Yeah, I'm sure you are guessing where I'm going. Okay, let's make sure we don't forget distress ink, which I used to forget every single time. Like half of my previous albums were without distress ink, and while this is absolutely fine for for much lighter colors, I think that the distress ink is a must for bolder colors and for rusty colors, autumn colors. Otherwise you can see the white on the edge of the page and it's not that good looking. Pages, when they are printed on white cardstock, and you can see the core. Okay, now let's get this out of the way. Our glue and glue here, and now I am going to stick this portion at the top. I can only pray that I've done it right. Yeah, it's the right size. Perfect. Okay, so now right here we have space to slide something underneath, and we are just going to use remember when I said I was going to use the card from the cover? No, I changed my mind. I still have other covers if I want to use them. So let's cut this. Let's say here. Oh, length. Why not measure while we can? Okay, book away. And it was here. Okay, so we have this portion that we can insert and slide it. Oh, great, fabulous. Let's go under the desk now. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's see if it fits. If not, we are going to trim it, but it does fit. Yay. All right. Now, we are going to go back on the inside here, And for that, I'll have to find an edge that looks the same. So since I cut the portion I shouldn't have cut, I am just going to open another pack and take this before we do that. Let's separate the cards. So we have 6 cards here on this page, and then I'm gonna try to go right to their edges. 1 and and 2 cards and 3. And 4, and the last one is here. Okay, now I need some more of that craft. No. I am going to create backing for them. Which one do we pick? What about this? 3. These 3. Okay. So I just end up using a lot of double-sided tape for projects like this, but I think it's worth it. I buy it on Amazon, a 6-pack. It's usually around $10–11, so it will last me for a whole mini album, I suppose, depending on the complexity. And yeah, I know it seems like a lot, but since I am putting over 40 hours of work in it, and I'm using this beautiful paper, I think it's worth it. I really do. Mini albums are not cheap to make, but they are very, very rewarding. Believe it or not, I have never sold anything. I made so many things in the past 2 years, because that's how long I've been crafting. I made heaps of things. I have them since we moved house recently. I have them in boxes still. I have 4 extra large packing boxes from Lowe's. So they are really gigantic, and they are all full of stuff, and there are a few items that I put on the walls around the house. I just wouldn't even know how to start selling them. Yes, I do have an Etsy store, but it's for supplies. And how do you get people to actually spend money on stuff like that. I mean, they are beautiful, but how would I even start pricing them? I would have no clue whatsoever. So I guess I'll just keep them for now until I figure out. But crafting, it's an expensive hobby, and yes, I did spend a lot on everything I've been using so far. So that's why I have a store to sell supplies, trying to just make enough money to cover some of the expenses, I guess. Alright, so we are going to do this in the same manner. Did I got it right? Yes. You know what I am going to do to make these three cards out of camera. Now you saw how I made the first one, and we are going to make them the same with a flap at the top, and I will see you soon. Okay, let me show you what I did off camera for the inside of this handmade page. To start with, I wanted to make sure that I have the same color on the right, so it would look nice. So I am creating here a little pocket. Basically, I stuck this piece of cardstock over the craft cardstock, leaving edges so that I could fold them, and then I did a cut using this cutter, and you will see in a moment why. And then when I was done, I realized that I forgot to put a magnet, which I am going to need. So then I peeled it off, and it looked pretty nasty, but now it looks good again. And the magnet is right here, and I am talking about 1 second, these magnets that that are very, very thin but very strong, and so I have a magnet in here, and now I am going to stick this little pocket that I created on the side, on the inside of the page. For that I am going to, no, actually I'm going to put tape first and then cut, otherwise I have to do twice the amount of work that I would otherwise have to do. So let's keep those little bits, and then this one, and then this one, okay. So now I have exceeded the edge with the tape. I know you can't see it because of the camera, so I'm just gonna trim it down to make sure that it doesn't stick in the wrong places. And now I am going to cut diagonally to allow the corners not to overlap when I fold them. So this is that, and of course I did remember at the last minute to use the distress tape. Now glue, and let's stick it here just like this. So now we have a pocket here, and I will show you why in just a moment. So now for this portion here, I have cut this, but I am not going to put it all by itself. It's actually this way. So what I did, the 3 of the 6 cards, remember when I created this fold? Now I am going to attach them here in this particular order. So what I'm going to do, I will start with the first one, like right here, let's say, yes. And I'm going to use my my cutter to cut on this edge along it, not on it, because you don't want to cut the fold off. So now I'm going to insert it in the cut that I created and attach it at the back. I'm gonna attach it once underneath it, and I really don't need glue for this because the whole thing will be stuck to the page. And I'm also going to attach it here, but making sure that I tuck this in this edge so it won't be visible. So once it's tucked in, I reinforce it. And next one is gonna be, let's figure it out. So the bottom one should look about, be about as much from the edges. This one is, I guess that's, yeah. Let's make sure it's right. Okay. So now I have to pray that I don't cut it wrongly, because I could actually slice my finger. Oh crap. Of course. Yeah, I cut it the wrong way. It's okay. We are going to fix it. So actually I need to cut it here down. But that's fine. It's not gonna be visible because I've done a clean cut. See, when I talk about clumsiness, that's what I mean. So this is gonna go here. And yes, we are going to put a little edge there to make sure that we don't do it the wrong way. So here we go with this one. And I'm actually going to white to reinforce the back, because of course, stupid me, I didn't realize that once I put the double-sided tape, it will stick to the desk every time when I try to to attach another one. So let's put this one, let's see, make them even. Yep, something like that. Okay, and let's slide it in, and now stick it at the back and then reinforce both of them. And reinforcing this one and reinforcing this one. And now, cool, we will have to deal with the bottom one as well. Not sure if we are going to put anything on the other side. We will decide depending on how it looks. So now let's attach it to the album. then this one. Okay, glue. And I'm going to add some more glue in the places where I put the reinforcing tape. And now, let's put this one here. Alright, now, normally I want them, these cards to stay down, but because I didn't put anything to hold them down, that's why I created this little pocket. And then I took a piece of craft cardstock and I added 4 of the little squares from the front, and I'm just gonna put it here and it's gonna hold them down. That's all there is to it. That's why I created the pocket. And when we look at this, see, that's how it's going to look. Now I just realized something else. See, another mistake that I am going to fix. When I put the magnet in here, I didn't realize that this wouldn't go all the way there. So now the magnet is here for nothing. Maybe. I'm just thinking if I should put, no. How are we going to close this? Well, you know what? We are going to use another one of these instead of the magnet. So let's find them. It's not easy to concentrate 100% at what you are doing, and that's why mistakes happen. But they can be fixed. Now, since I already attached the magnet underneath the paper, I don't want to start pulling now to remove it, so I'm just gonna leave it there. And I am going to put this up here. So let's punch a hole. If I can find, yes, here it is. I'm just gonna press slightly because I don't know how deep I can go until I can lift it. Okay. So trying to separate. Okay, problem is solved, but now I will need to bring some regular tape, which I will later on, to cover it underneath. Okay, so this is done. This portion is done, and now we are going to put something here. I haven't decided yet what. That seems to be the right size, so I might as well put this one. Okay, let's cut it to size. Pencil. And edges. Tape. So I have to keep reminding myself that since this is supposed to be a mini album, I need to make room for photos. So personally, I don't know if I would want to put photos in it, but some people do. So this entire page will be left so that whoever uses it, if I ever get to sell it, will have room for photos to stick on. And why am I cutting tape too short? Okay, so let's stick this here. Well, I'm actually glad that it worked out. Problem with this paper is that it's very busy. Every single page is very busy with so many details, and you get lost in the design. So I am trying at least to compensate with a little less busy portions as well. So that's the inside. And now, since we are done with this part, we will have to do this portion. Remember, we started here on the page, remember? And now we have to do the inside. We already have a lot going on the first portion of it, so I am going to turn the camera off for a minute until I can decide how I want it here. Cannot make it very busy because then it's gonna be way too fat. So I'll think of something and get back to you in a minute. Okay, so here is what I have decided to do. So remember, we are inside the page one that we created. So I have these two that were part of the 6 cards, if you remember, and I am going to attach them here. I have already placed them on craft cardstock and created the fold. So now I am just going to attach them this way, because that's how it's gonna be. Let's keep this little bit and glue. They fit right on this page. I didn't have to trim them at all, which is really good. Okay, so this one is done here, and then this one we are going to attach it now. Okay, and glue. And the other thing that I did here was to add 2 magnets, one here and one here. So that is between the craft cardstock and the design paper. The reason I have done so is because we will need to stick to make them stay here. So now I'm gonna get 2 more magnets and find the, oops, yeah, that's the right spot, and we are going to put, so that's the right, yeah, place, and we are going to one second, let me get rid of those little. We are going to put some tape on them, being careful not to attach it to the design paper. And now we are going to close the page and press down, and not hopefully the magnets, yes, here, see, they stayed in the right place. So now let's secure them with more tape. That's what they are going to be. Now we have to find a way of keeping these from opening by themselves. So I have created this flap, which I am going to stick somewhere here. But first, let's decide on something. So it will have to be somewhere here. And for that purpose, I will need a magnet to hold this one down. So I'm going to put a magnet in this corner. Magnet. And now we are going to attach this paper on it. And of course I cut it too short. Okay. Alrighty, so let's put this on. And now let's figure out where we put it. I guess that here would be the right spot. Okay, so now that we know where it's going to be located, let's attach the magnet that holds it. Ouch. Sticky, sticky. Here it goes. And now let's cover this ugly area with this paper, which is from the second pack. No, this way, sorry. Perfect. Okay, this need to cut a bit of the tape. And yes, I did use the distressing before just to save some time. Now I forgot which way I said I was going to put it. This way, not this way. Nope, this way. Okay. So now we have this one, and for this one I am going to do something else. Let's move this aside. So that's the background, and I want to make sure I can put this card right in the middle, and for that purpose I am going to make a couple of slits in this paper in opposite corners. Where is my fabulous? I lost it. Let's use the little one. Okay, if I can see, so hard to see. Great, I see this one here and this one here. So let's make a tiny slit here, if I can keep track of them. Yep. So for this one, I am just going to cut out a very thin rectangle. See? Can you see? I hope you can. And now let's try to locate. Where are they? Let's try to locate them this way. Can't even see them, so let's redo them. I should use a different pencil, like a white pencil. Okay, since I am still looking at them, I'm gonna do the cut now. Okay, let's now see if it works as intended. So this, yep, yes, that's it. All right, so now that we have it and we know we can remove it and replace it anytime, we are going to attach it to the page in the album. Ow, 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 great. Fabulous. Oh, excellent. We just finished one and first page isn't done yet. This portion is not sticky. So I it looks like we are going to need more than a 6-pack of tape. Okay. Where did we stop? Oh, here. Alright. Glue. We are almost done with the first one. Okay. Oh, fabulous. We did the cut the other way. I knew there would be something. It's okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep this card and put another one that goes diagonally. So I'm sorry, horizontally. And it so happens that the magnet is right here, so I will not really be able to use that corner. How is that even possible? No, we are going to do something else actually. I'm just gonna cut a portion of this and remove, well, at least we have solutions. That's the bright part. So let's just stick this on the inside to keep our magnet there and be able to use the slot. So I'm just gonna cover it with this, and that way we can slide our card in. And now let's add a bit more glue to make sure we can actually stick it back where it was. And now our slot is available. I have no idea how many times I made mistakes like this, and it's so easy to make them, and I admit that I am not going to claim that I am perfect, because I'm far from it. But luckily I do find solutions, meaning that in the end the result is nice. So let's see, can we put this one? I guess we could if we shorten it a bit. So if we put this one here, we will need to cut about 1/4 inch. So let's see if it works. About 1/4 inch, I said. Great. Let's see now if it works. This way. And now we need to cut a tiny bit more, not much though, like 1/8 inch. Or a 1/16 rather. Perfect. So let's mount it on craft cardstock. Do I have a piece that I can use? Of course not. I'll have to cut a brand new one. Yeah. Alright. So what I also wanted to add, the design of the album ultimately depends on the design of the paper. Glue. For instance, this one being industrial in a way, and vintage at the same time, and it has a more masculine feel to it. I cannot use cutting dies for the edges. That would be like flourishes. They have to stay masculine. So if I want to create pockets, I will have to do a lot of straight cuts. Whereas with the other paper that I'm going to use for the next album, the Muse, you know what, I forgot to put, yeah, see, that's what it means when you don't pay attention. I forgot to do the edges. It won't make much of a difference. So this will go here. Perfect. And remember, we have magnet here and magnet here, so now this should stay close, and it does. All right, so let's review page number 1. So we have our little garage door here, and we have this sliding portion here, a little height, and then on the inside, that's a simple page, and here we made a pocket with the straight cut I was mentioning, and that holds the 3 cards together. You can always put stuff at the back of the cards if you want to, but then if you want to put photos, you'll have to cover it with the photos, so that's why I tend to leave it blank. So let's do this one. Let's close it. So remember, our first page opens here and opens here as well, and on to page number 2. That will be for tomorrow, because now it's going to take me forever to upload the video. I have a horrible internet at home. Thanks for watching.